beginning of the meeting. That's going to be Cheryl Ames. Cheryl Ames. Ready to go? Ladies and gentlemen, I hereby call to order this meeting of the Sedalia City Council. The meeting is now called to order. The first item on our agenda is legislative prayer, followed by the pledges of allegiance. Chaplain Matson, you have the floor.
Would you stand as able and join me in an invocation this evening? Dear Lord and Father of us all, we come to you tonight to ask your guidance as the City Council of Sedalia, mayor, administrators, staff, ward members, meet to hear about, question, discuss, and make decisions for the betterment of our city and its people. We're grateful for their service to our city and to this community. We ask your protection for all of our first responders, those who labor 24/7 to serve and protect us, often at their own peril. We are grateful for the United States of America, our constitutional republic for which so many thousands have fought and died to create and preserve for these 250 years. Please bless and protect all of our military and civilians serving this great country today, here and throughout the world, and bring them home safely to their families. And now, as we leave tonight, please keep us safe, keep us from harm, bless our loved ones. And until we meet again, all this we will pray in the name of our risen Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Robinson.
Yes.
Scribner.
Here.
Bogus is absent. Hiller.
Here.
Cross.
Here.
Foster.
Here.
Franklin.
Here.
First item on our agenda is a special appointment. Go ahead and call for the reading of the appointment.
To members of the City Council from Mayor.
To approve, do I have any council discussion regarding the appointment? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. And now we'll move on to the swearing in of the new First Ward councilperson. Cheryl, if you'd like to step forward and take your oath of office, and then any family members that you'd like to join you may.
Solemnly swear or affirm that I possess all the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of the City of Sedalia, Missouri, that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of the State of Missouri, the provisions of all laws of this state affecting cities of the third class and the ordinances of the city, and faithfully demean myself in office. Come around here and sign. Sign. Congratulations, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Ames, if you'd like to join us on the dais.
Thank you, Jack.
Yes, Okay, roll call, please.
Robinson.
Yes.
Ames.
Yes.
Scribner.
Yes.
Bogus is absent. Hiller.
Yes.
Cross.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Okay, moving along, we have the approval of the previous session minutes. These are from the council meeting dated June 2nd, 2025. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion to approve and a second. Do I have any council discussion regarding those meeting minutes? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Now we have the work session meeting minutes dated June 5th, 2025. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion to approve and a second. Do I have any council discussion regarding those meeting minutes? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Moving along to the report of special boards, commissions, and committees. We have the acceptance of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes dated February 5th, 2025. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Do I have any council discussion regarding those meeting minutes? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Now we have the acceptance of the Traffic Advisory Commission meeting minutes dated April 16th, 2025. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any council discussion regarding those meeting minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Now we have the roll call of our standing committees. Up first, we have Finance Administration. Chairwoman Bogus is not here, so Vice Chairman Foster will fill in.
Thank you. I would please like to call up Jessica Pyle, our Finance Director, to give us an update on major trends in tax revenue collection.
Hello. We are looking at the second chart of numbers, which is the fiscal year-to-date totals. So fiscal year-to-date, net sales and use tax is higher by about $52,000 on April sales collected. That's about 1.1% higher than the prior fiscal year-to-date. We had budgeted a 4% increase, so we are below budget about $141,000. In comparing to the prior year fiscal year to date, last May was higher about 11.8%, which is higher than normal, and May of this year was more average. The marijuana tax that started being collected at cash registers in October of 2023, so this fiscal year will have a full year comparison to the prior year, and you can see there's just a slight increase for this fiscal year to date over prior year. Franchise taxes, those are lower due to lower electricity of around $187,000 with an increase in natural gas of around $72,000. Transportation, that is higher due to an increase in gasoline tax of 9.2%, an increase in vehicle sales of 8.1%, with a decrease in vehicle fees of 4.1%, making up that difference. And then property tax payments, the majority of those are collected in December and January. So just a few of those have been collected this fiscal year. Any questions?
Does the council have any questions? All right. Thank you, Jessica. Up next, we have the roll call of our standing, I'm sorry, we're already there. Up next, we have the Public Works, and we have Chairwoman Franklin. You have the floor to present.
The first item in Missouri General Assembly appropriated $4.7 million to fund the planning and design and construction of intersection improvement at US Highway 65, Limit Avenue, and West 32nd Street. In a prior meeting, the City Council approved an agreement with MoDOT to coordinate this significant infrastructure project. Most recently, following qualification-based selection process conducted in coordination with MoDOT, Wilson and Company was selected to deliver a comprehensive scope of services, including traffic study, field survey, environmental review, public engagement, and construction phase support. This agreement represents a major step forward in addressing one of Sedalia's most critical intersections improvements. With Wilson and Company, the amount is $665,292.71 to provide the necessary design and inspection services for the project. This cost share project was discussed during strategic planning sessions and approved in the fiscal 26 budget.
All right, call for the reading of Bill number 2025-103.
Bill number 2025-103, an ordinance authorizing an agreement for engineering services relating to the design and improvements to the intersection of South Lemon Avenue, West 32nd Street, and Highway B.
Second reading?
Second.
I have a motion, a second for the second reading of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding the bill that's on the floor?
I just would love to say I am so excited about this. We have worked really hard for a lot of years to get this done, and this is a big, wonderful thing for the Fourth Ward and for the whole city.
Any other council discussion? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Bill number 2025-103, an ordinance authorizing an agreement for engineering services relating to the design and improvements to the intersection of South Lemon Avenue, West 32nd Street, and Highway B.
Final passage?
Second.
I have a motion, a second for the final passage of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding the bill that is on the floor? Having heard none, roll call, please.
Robinson.
Yes.
Ames.
Yes.
Scribner.
Yes.
Bogus is absent. Hiller.
Yes.
Cross.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
7 yes, 1 absent.
Motion passes.
The Public Works staff recommends approval of change order number 4 for the 2021 181B Storm Drainage Improvement Project in Area 35, located near South Beacon Avenue and West 13th Street. This project is funded through Department of Natural Resources, ARPA, Stormwater Grant. Previous change orders had increased the cost, but change order number 4 reconciles the final unit of quantities installed during construction. The change has been reviewed and approved by the Department of Natural Resources as required. The result is a contract deduction of $35,352.80, bringing the revised total project cost to $286,698.
All right, call for the reading of bill number 2025-104.
Bill number 2025-104, an ordinance authorizing change order number 4 for storm drainage improvements project area number 35.
Second reading?
Second.
I have a motion, a second for the second reading of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding the bill? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Bill number 2025-104, an ordinance authorizing change order number 4 for storm drainage improvements project area number 35.
Final passage?
Second.
Second.
I have a motion, a second for the final passage of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding the bill? Having heard none, roll call, please.
Scribner.
Yes.
Bogus is absent. Hiller.
Yes.
Cross.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Ames.
Yes.
7 yes, 1 absent.
Bill passes. Let's see, we have nothing for public safety, community development. Chairwoman Foster, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. We have quite a bit to cover this evening. Let's see, we have 9 items. First, I would like to welcome our new downtown specialist planner, Melinda Geyer, to please come forward. Welcome to Sedalia.
Thank you so much, Mayor, Councilmen, Councilwomen. It is my pleasure. Thank you for having me here this evening. I am very excited to join the City of Sedalia. I am very grateful for the opportunity to bring my skills and experience to the City of Sedalia to make this a wonderful place for all. I have a long career history of government experience in Cass County, Christian County, right here in Pettis County, the City of Branson, the State of Missouri Courts, and most recently, the Executive Director of the Boonville Area Chamber of Commerce. I have also worked for a nonprofit in the state of Missouri that was statewide, and I was their event coordinator as well. We are very excited to get the first Thursdays back up and going, and we are looking forward to the July 3rd celebration. So that's just a little bit about me. It is my pleasure to meet all of you, and I look forward to working with everyone.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next item we have this evening is an annexation of Autumn Creek Development LLC. On April 30th, 2025, the city received a petition from Autumn Creek Development LLC requesting annexation of approximately 9.93 acres of unincorporated land located at the site formerly known as 3503 South Lemon Avenue. A public hearing was held during the May 19th, 2025 City Council meeting and no objections were submitted. The proposed annexation area is contiguous to the existing corporate limits, and the city has the ability to extend municipal services within a reasonable time frame. The property is proposed to be zoned M1 light industrial and included in Ward 4. Autumn Creek Development plans to construct commercial space along the frontage and residential structures on the remaining land. It is recommended approval of the ordinance annexing the property into the city of Sedalia.
All right, call for the reading of bill number 2025-105.
Bill number 2025-105, an ordinance of the City of Sedalia, Missouri, approving and annexing an unincorporated area owned by Autumn Creek Development LLC into the City of Sedalia, Missouri, adjacent and contiguous to existing corporate limits of said city.
Second reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for a second reading of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding the bill that's on the floor? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Bill number 2025-105, an ordinance of the City of Sedalia, Missouri, approving and annexing an unincorporated area owned by Autumn Creek Development LLC into the City of Sedalia, Missouri, adjacent and contiguous to existing corporate limits of said city.
Final passage.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the final passage of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding it? Having heard none, roll call, please.
Bogus is absent. Hiller,
Yes.
Cross,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Ames,
Yes.
Scribner.
Yes.
7 yes, 1 absent.
Bill passes.
All right. Next, we have a continuation of the previous item. The Planning and Zoning Commission approved the preliminary and final plat for Autumn Creek Development LLC located at 3503 South Lemon Avenue during its June 4th, 2025 meeting by a unanimous 7-0 vote. The plat reflects the proposed subdivision if the property is annexed into commercial frontage and residential lots. Approval of the plat supports the city's objectives of more housing in the city limits and provides for the dedication of necessary public utility easements. It is staff recommends approval of this ordinance, adopting the preliminary and final plat as submitted.
All right, call for the reading of bill number 2025-106.
Bill number 2025-106, an ordinance approving the preliminary and final plat for Autumn Creek Development LLC in addition to the City of Sedalia, Pettis County, Missouri, on certain property located at 3503 South Limit in the City of Sedalia, Missouri.
Second reading.
Right here.
I have a motion and a second for the second reading of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding the bill that is on the floor? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Bill number 2025-106, an ordinance approving the preliminary and final plat for Autumn Creek Development LLC in addition to the City of Sedalia, Pettis County, Missouri, on certain property located at 3503 South Limit in the City of Sedalia, Missouri.
Final passage.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the final passage of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding it? Having heard none, roll call, please.
Hiller,
Yes.
Cross,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Ames,
Yes.
Scribner,
Yes.
and Bogus is absent. 7 yes, 1 absent.
Bill passes.
For the fourth item tonight, we have Paul Brun grant for 217 West Main. Staff has worked diligently to bring an ordinance forward authorizing a subrecipient grant agreement between the City of Sedalia and the Lewis family for the rehabilitation of 217 West Main Street through the Paul Brun Historic Revitalization Grant Program. This federal program, administered by the National Park Service, is designed to support the preservation of historic buildings in rural communities by funding crucial structural improvements that promote long-term viability and economic revitalization. The project at 217 West Main will receive $243,564 in federal funds, with a required match provided by the property owner. The scope of work includes tuck pointing, masonry, and foundation repair, roof restoration, and storefront stabilization, essential measures identified by a structural engineer to preserve the building's integrity and improve its usability. City staff has worked closely with the property owner, consultants, and federal partners to ensure compliance with grant conditions, including the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation and all applicable procurement and preservation guidelines. The grant term runs from July 2025 through August 30th, 2026, and will include regular reporting, site inspections, and final documentation. This effort reflects the city's broader commitment to downtown revitalization and preservation of Sedalia's architectural heritage. The project not only restores an important historic structure, but also supports the broader economic development vision of Sedalia's central business district.
All right, go ahead and let's call for the reading of Bill number 2025-107.
Bill number 2025-107, an ordinance authorizing a Paul Bruin Grant subrecipient grant agreement for structural repairs at 217 West Main Street.
Second reading?
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the second reading of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding the bill that is on the floor? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Bill number 2025-107, an ordinance authorizing a Paul Bruin Grant subrecipient grant agreement for structural repairs at 217 West Main Street.
Final passage?
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the final passage of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding it? Having heard none, roll call, please.
Cross,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Ames,
Yes.
Scribner,
Yes.
Bogus is absent, and Hiller.
Yes.
7 yes, 1 absent.
Bill passes.
For the fifth item this evening, we have another Paul Bruin grant for 104 West Main. Staff recommends approval of an ordinance authorizing a subrecipient grant agreement between the City of Sedalia and Ivan Levko for the rehabilitation of 104 West Main Street through funding provided by the Paul Bruin Historic Revitalization Grant Program. This $180,000 project will receive $138,600 in federal grant funds, with the remaining $41,400 provided as a match by the property owner. The planned scope of work includes removal and replacement of the roofing, window replacement, and substantial masonry repairs, all aimed at preserving and reactivating a structure located in downtown Sedalia.
All right, call for the reading of bill number 2025-108.
Bill number 2025-108, an ordinance authorizing a Paul Bruin Grant subrecipient grant agreement for structural repairs at 104 West Main Street.
Second reading?
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the second reading of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding it?
I have a question. Which unit of the building is this? Which one of those buildings over there on Main Street?
So for that question, I'll defer that to Interim City Administrator Matthew Ward.
Do you want like a, I'm sorry, I don't really know how to describe it.
It appears to me there's at least 4 different buildings in the old Cash Hardware building set, is there not? Is this
Yes.
the whole, is this the whole address?
No, this would just be 104.
Which one?
It's, I believe that's the second one in. Brian's not in here. I believe that's, I would have to look at an actual picture to tell you which one
The
it
one's
is.
got the back wall falling out. I don't know.
We also have CBO Brian Kopp here. He can shed some further light on this matter.
It is the building that has the back wall fallen out, and so the owner has submitted a structural engineer's plan to reframe that, and so this grant will help to facilitate the construction of that.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Any other council discussion?
Studio.
With the what?
Art studio.
No.
Going once, going twice?
That's Ivan.
Having heard none or any further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Bill number 2025-108, an ordinance authorizing a Paul Bruin Grant subrecipient grant agreement for structural repairs at 104 West Main Street.
Final passage?
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the final passage of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding it? Having heard none, roll call, please.
Foster,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Ames,
Yes.
Scribner,
Yes.
Bogus is absent, Hiller,
Yes.
Cross.
Yes.
7 yes, 1 absent.
Bill passes.
For the sixth item this evening, we have a rezoning application for 2609 South Grand. An ordinance is presented for consideration to rezone the property located at 2609 South Grand Avenue from R1 Single Family Residential to R3 Apartment House. The subject property is a .47 acre vacant lot with adjacent properties to the northeast and south zoned R1. While multiple properties to the west and southeast are zoned R3, the applicants submitted the rezoning request with the intent to develop townhomes or a fourplex on the site. A public hearing was held before the Planning and Zoning Commission on June 4th, 2025, following required public notice. After hearing public input and reviewing the proposal, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously 7-0 to recommend denial of the rezoning request. The ordinance is now presented to the City Council for final consideration.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call for the reading of bill number 2025-109.
Bill number 2025-109, an ordinance granting a change in zoning classification from R1 Single Family Residential to R3 Apartment House on certain property located at 2609 South Grand in the City of Sedalia, Missouri, in accordance with Chapter 64 of the City Code of the City of Sedalia, Missouri.
Second reading?
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the second reading of this bill. Any council discussion regarding it?
I would like to discuss, please.
Okay, you have the floor.
I was presented a 42 signatures on a petition from members that were of our community living close to this property in opposition of this rezoning. So Fourth Ward, we're listening to you. So we are very glad that you guys came forward with this to let us know how you feel, and I will not be supporting rezoning this.
Do we have any other council discussion? Okay, so we have a motion and second on the floor for a second reading of this bill. I'll go ahead and call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
So let's have a
Jason?
roll call vote.
Yeah, Jason, if you could go ahead and poll the council, please.
Absolutely.
And just to be clear, for the purpose of council, these ordinances are drafted in the affirmative, right? So a vote yes is to effectuate the change.
Franklin.
No.
Robinson.
No.
Ames.
No.
Scribner.
No.
August is absent. Hiller.
No.
Cross.
No.
Foster.
No.
You have 7 noes and 1 absent, so.
Okay, the bill has failed to receive approval upon its first reading. As a result, it will not advance to the second reading or final passage unless reconsidered according to proper procedure. The matter is concluded.
All right, the next item we have, number 7, is a special use permit for a communication tower at 314 East St. Louis Street. And an ordinance is presented to grant a special use permit to AT&T for the construction of a 150-foot monopole wireless communications tower with a 4-foot lightning rod at 314 East St. Louis Street. The subject property is a .2 acre vacant lot located in an area zoned M1 light industrial. It is bordered to the south by a railroad and to the northeast and west by additional vacant or undeveloped parcels. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a hearing on June 4th, 2025, following public notice, and voted unanimously 7-0 to recommend approval of the request. According to the application and land use review, the proposed tower will have minimal traffic or operational impact on surrounding properties and supports improvements to the city's wireless communication infrastructure. The project aligns with the city's comprehensive plan, which designates the area for future light industrial use.
All right, call for the reading of bill number 2025-110.
Bill number 2025-110, an ordinance granting a special use permit to AT&T to construct a communications tower on property located at 314 East St. Louis Street in the city of Sedalia, Missouri.
Second reading?
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the second reading of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding it? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Bill number 2025-110, an ordinance granting a special use permit to AT&T to construct a communications tower on property located at 314 East St. Louis Street in the city of Sedalia, Missouri.
Final passage?
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the final passage of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding the bill that is on the floor? Having heard none, roll call, please.
Robinson,
Yes.
Ames,
Yes.
Scribner,
Yes.
Bogus is absent, Hiller,
Yes.
Cross,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Franklin.
Yes.
7 yes, 1 absent.
Motion passes.
The eighth item this evening is a mural license agreement with 608 South Ohio. Staff recommends approval of a license agreement between the City of Sedalia and Cassandra Nicole Hill, owner of the property located at 608 South Ohio Avenue, to authorize the installation of a public mural on the south-facing wall of the building currently leased to Ohio Hair Company. This agreement grants the city a non-exclusive, non-transferable license for a term of 20 years to install and maintain the mural. The mural will be coordinated through the city with a selected artist and must comply with all applicable laws, including insurance and permitting requirements. The mural project aligns with the city's goal for public art, beautification, and downtown revitalization, and formalizes cooperation with the property owner to allow for the long-term public benefit. The agreement does include terms for access and maintenance in the event of structural alterations or damage.
All right, call for the reading of bill number 2025-111.
Bill number 2025-111, an ordinance approving a mural license agreement for property located at 608 South Ohio.
Second reading?
I have a motion and a second for the second reading of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding it?
I do have a few questions.
Councilman Scribner, you have the floor.
Someone tell me where the funding for this project will be coming from?
I will defer that question to interim city administrator Work.
It's out of the Sedalia downtown development that we have there, that budget that comes out each year. And they have set aside for the last several years money for murals. So it's all part of that budget.
One other question.
Sure.
Do we know the size of the mural?
I do not know the size of that. John wasn't able to make it this evening. But it would be the size of the side of the building. I didn't have the exact dimensions of it. I apologize for not knowing that.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Does council have any other discussion or points of information they would like? Councilman Hiller?
Can this be seen driving down the road, or is it kind of hidden like Harry's deal over there on the side of the building in an alleyway?
Yeah, I'll defer that question to interim city administrator Matt Work.
I think it's like anything. I mean, it's going to have there's tall buildings and things like that downtown, so it will have a little bit of restriction, but it is meant to be seen when you're driving by. But I don't know how much of it you'll see. Hopefully, it's not too much to distract drivers. But
Well, there's a vacant lot and an alley next to it, so you have that much viewing area.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll go ahead and push this to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Bill number 2025-111, an ordinance approving a mural license agreement for property located at 608 South Ohio.
Final passage?
I have a motion and a second for the final passage of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding it? Having heard none, roll call, please.
Scribner,
Yes.
Bogus is absent, Hiller,
Yes.
Cross,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Ames.
Yes.
You have 7 yes, 1 absent.
Bill passes.
For my final item this evening, we have a quote for Havre Graffiti mural completion on building located at 608 South Ohio. In conjunction with the previous item, is an ordinance accepting the quote in the amount of $10,000 to design and complete the mural artwork at 608 South Ohio Avenue. The mural, which was approved as part of the fiscal year 26 Main Street's budget, will have no financial obligation from the property owner. Havre Graffiti is well-known regional artist whose work aligns with the city's vision for vibrant and meaningful public art. The mural will be a depiction of the Wright brothers' flight over the Missouri State Fair from the early 1900s. The project enhances the visible corridor of the Central Business District and helps promote Sedalia as a place where creativity and history intersect.
All right, call for the reading of bill number 2025-112.
Bill number 2025-112, an ordinance approving and accepting a quote from Havre Graffiti for the completion of a mural located at 608 South Ohio.
Second reading?
I have a motion and a second for the second reading of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding it? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Bill number 2025-112, an ordinance approving and accepting a quote from Havre Graffiti for the completion of a mural located at 608 South Ohio.
Final passage?
I have a motion and a second for the final passage of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding the bill that is on the floor? Having heard none, roll call, please.
Bogus is absent. Hiller?
Yes.
Cross?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Franklin?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Ames?
Yes.
And Scribner.
Yes.
You have 7 yes, 1 absent.
Okay, in other business, we have appointments. Go ahead and call for the reading of the appointments.
To members of the City Council from Mayor Andrew Dawson regarding new appointments and reappointments. New appointments to the Board of Appeals, Janet Mazansky as an alternate member to fill the vacancy left by Lee Scribner, 5-year term expiring June 2029. Appointment Bothwell Regional Health Center Board of Trustees, Jason Joy, filling vacancy left by John Cady, 4-year term expiring June 2029. Adam Porter to the Park Board, replacing Roy Pointer, 3-year term expiring June 2028. And Virginia Brainerd to the Planning and Zoning Commission, fill a vacancy left by Mike Privet, term ending June 2026. And reappointment to Bothwell Regional Health Center Board of Trustees, Cassie Brown, 4-year term expiring June 2029.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second.
A motion to approve in a second. Do I have any council discussion regarding the appointments? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Now we'll go ahead and move on to the liquor licenses. We'll call for the reading of the liquor licenses.
We have 2 new licenses and 1 renewal tonight. New licenses for Stacy White, doing business as Pease Place at 1201 East 3rd Street for liquor by the drink and Sunday sales. And Paige Shearer, doing business as a local tap for a special event license for Jaeger Cycle Sales Bike Night on June 28, 2025 from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And a renewal for Jeremy Klein, doing business as Corner Lounge at 1604 South Ohio for liquor by the drink and Sunday sales.
Do I have a motion to approve in block?
Motion to approve in block?
Second.
I have a motion to approve in block and second. Do I have any council discussion regarding the liquor licenses? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Now we'll move on to miscellaneous items. Does anyone have any miscellaneous items from the city council or interim city administrator? Well, all right. Having none, we'll go ahead and move on to the good and welfare portion of our agenda. This is a time we've set aside for residents of Sedalia to address their city council directly. As a reminder, anyone wishing to speak must have signed up in advance using the form located in the lobby prior to the start of the meeting. That form requires your name, address, telephone number, and the agenda item you wish to address. Comments must relate to tonight's agenda unless formal written is requested to speak on non-agenda item topics was submitted at least 2 days in advance. Each speaker will be allowed up to 3 minutes to present their remarks. Please clearly state your name and address for the record when you come to the microphone. This is not a time for debate or dialogue with council members. The council chambers is a limited public forum, and all remarks must be directed as the council as a whole. I would remind everyone that personal attacks on specific city employees by name or title are not permitted. If you wish to file a formal complaint, you may do so through writing through the clerk's office. Disruptive behavior such as shouting, refusing to yield the floor, or blocking the view of others will not be tolerated, and violators may be asked to leave or removed by law enforcement if necessary. Your comments tonight will be considered as part of the official public record. We thank you for your cooperation in maintaining decorum and for your continued participation in the civic life of our city. At this time, we will begin calling forward those who have signed to speak. And Clerk Myers, if you could go and call those people forward.
Okay, I have a sign-up sheet for Mike McDermott, if he's still here. He left, okay. Same for Teresa McDermott, so they both left. Okay, the next one I have is Leanna Lawson, and she wants to speak about the storm drainage change order.
Very good. Mrs. Lawson, go ahead and state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Leanna Lawson, 1803 South Washington. I'd like to comment on change order number 4 for project area 35. As a Sedalia resident and taxpayer, I find it troubling how often we are seeing projects revised midstream. It raises questions about planning, oversight, and accountability. We all want better drainage and safer streets, which we desperately need all over the city. But when costs continue to shift without explanation, it adds to the sense that decision-making is happening behind closed doors, and details about problems with and/or changes to projects are not adequately disclosed to the public. Mr. Mayor and Council, this is an ongoing occurrence, prevalent through both the current and prior administration, and I know that I'm not the only one who finds the lack of transparency concerning and what seems to be a reoccurring pattern of mismanagement of city resources to maintain our infrastructure. I sincerely hope that going forward, the city considers clearer communication and more rigorous oversight on how and why changes like these continue to occur. If the city of Sedalia truly wants the public to trust the process, this administration needs to make it a priority to show future approved projects are truly in the public's interest, the vendors used are being properly vetted and researched, and allowing the public access to know that taxpayer funds are being used in a fiscally responsible, educated, effective, efficient, and ethical manner by those hired and elected to make sound financial decisions for the city of Sedalia. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Lawson. Up next.
The next person I have is Michelle Abney, and she wants to talk about the Autumn Creek annexation ordinance.
Okay. Come on up, Michelle.
Michelle Abney, 1800 East Harvey. Yeah, that's where I live. Sorry. My comment is on the annexation of the Autumn Creek development. These types of expansions tend to raise concerns for those of us watching the bigger picture. Each annexation, each development, each rezoning chips away at what many Sedalians feel that they can no longer afford to hold on to. As property values rise, so do taxes, and the people who have lived here for generations are finding it harder and harder to stay. We have witnessed this over and over in the past 4+ years. While growth might be framed as a win and boasted as a win by our elected leaders and the new community engagement director, it's important to ask, who is it a win for? Is there a plan to balance this development with protections for current residents, particularly those facing increased pressure from code enforcement or struggling with rising costs? North Side and East Side especially want to know. Annexations like this need more public input and more scrutiny, not just one simple planning and zoning meeting. We need forums, otherwise we risk losing not just homes, but the community that made Sedalia worth investing in to begin with. The final plat approval for Autumn Creek, it's difficult to understand how these developments move through the process so smoothly while other citizens face delay after delay for the smallest improvements on their homes. People are being told their homes are unsafe, but offer no support or solutions. Meanwhile, new construction is fast-tracked and backed by funding and approvals the average resident could never access. It gives the impression that the future of Sedalia is being shaped for someone else, someone with money, not history here. I would urge the council to slow down approvals like this, request public input, and put an end to circumventing sunshine law that shuts the public out, at the very least, until the people already living here are given the same consideration and resources to maintain their homes and stay in their neighborhoods.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Abney. Up next.
And next I have Debbie Covington. There's 2 items, the Paul Brun grant for the 217 West Main and the 2609 South Grand rezoning.
Debbie Covington, 2601 East 12th. I appreciate the efforts to preserve historic buildings such as the Paul Brun grant Mismanagement of the grant and mismanagement of its monies by the city is concerning, but I believe more effort should be put into preserving historic buildings, not knocking them down. I must raise the concern that not all properties are treated equally, and not all property owners are treated equally either. There are many homes in Sedalia that are just as old and just as valuable to our history. And to our story, yet their owners are being fined, cited, and pushed into compliance with little to no assistance. Many homes that could have been saved have been demolished. This does not preserve history. When grants are made available, they should be extended to individuals and families who are doing their best to hold on to their homes, not just commercial or high visibility properties, and not just individuals with the right connections and affiliations. Without equitable access to support, the city has created the perception that certain areas and certain buildings are worth saving while others are simply cleared out. I encourage a more balanced approach that preserves not just buildings, but the people inside them, all people. Rezoning on the agenda, these small zoning shifts may not seem major, but they accumulate. Every change sends a signal about the direction the city is heading. Proper publication and notice of meetings and forums allow the public to be involved, and tonight's failed bill illustrates that. I hope this trend continues. Residents deserve to be told in proper advance when rezoning is going to fundamentally alter the density, character, and affordability of their neighborhoods. Finally, why aren't the council committee meetings being publicized? Why aren't the community development, public works, finance and admin, and also public safety meetings and agendas on Sedalia.com?
Ms. Covington, please limit your comments to the topics you registered to speak on as required per our ordinance. You may continue, but only on that topic.
As community development, public works, and finance and admin, they're on the agenda.
You're now speaking on a subject that is not germane to the item you signed up to speak on. I must remind you that the comments must be relevant to the items or pre-approved in writing 2 days in advance. If you do not return to the item, I will rule you out of order and end your time.
I appreciate this public record, Andrew.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Ms. Covington. Anyone else?
No, that was it.
All right, very good. All right, I will go ahead and now entertain a motion and a second to move into closed door session.
Motion to move to closed door for subsections 1, legal advice 2, real estate 3, personnel, and 12, negotiated contracts.
Second. I have a motion and a second to move to closed door session. Do I have any council discussion regarding that motion? Having heard none, roll call, please.
Robinson?
Yes.
Ames?
Yes.
Scribner? Yes. Bogus is absent. Hiller?
Yes.
Cross?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Franklin?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thank you. Second to return to the open meeting.
Motion to open.
Second. I have a motion and second. Roll call, please.
Robinson?
Yes.
Ames?
Yes.
Scribner?
Yes.
Bogus is absent. Hiller?
Yes.
Cross?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Franklin?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion and second to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion and second to adjourn the open meeting. Meeting adjourned.